Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Hardscape Growth Show. Today, we are joined by the one and only Sean Collinsgru of Premier Outdoor Living. Sean, thank you for joining us fresh off a job site. How are you
Yep,
doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, fresh off the job site. I just barely had enough time to, you know, get the hair looking all right for this interview. But yeah, I'm ready to rock and talk about hardscapes and Techo Block and maybe the Montreal Canadiens if you'd like,
Maybe.
whatever's top of mind.
Thank you for the Montreal Canadiens plug. I appreciate that. Let's get started first. A little bit about you. I know a lot of people who are going to be listening to this have heard of you, have seen you, but tell us a little bit about your business. I know you've been on your own for 6 years now, running it. Can you give us a little
Yep.
bit of background, what you do, how big the company is, so on and so forth?
Yeah, so we're a pretty small company out of New Jersey, right outside of the Philly market, and pretty small business. It's just five of us, including me, and we kind of specialize in unique outdoor living spaces. That's probably the best way to put it. Just something I always like the creativity part of it. So, we try to focus on that, build the brand around that, and been doing it for about 6 years. And 6 years ago, really, I was just starting out building like my first patio, first deck, and just kind of build on it from there. And kind of came from the creative side of it more than the experience side. I'd never worked for anybody else, just kind of use online resources like this podcast and your new website to hone my skills and still figuring it out as I go.
That's I think that's a good one. A lot of people have been mentioning. I think it was Oasis who was on the show a little while ago, who was saying like the internet is full of valuable information that is kind of underutilized right now. People
Yeah,
are a little reluctant to look things up on YouTube or to do those Google searches, but there's just so much free information out there. It's 2021, and we're doing a lot to put more information out there. That's why we started this podcast. But like, I think not opening your mind to looking at what's online or reaching out to other contractors like you and just asking questions. I think that's a big mistake. So many
totally.
people are willing to help in this industry. It's just so full of good, honest, hardworking,
Yep.
transparent people who are just like helping people. Like, take advantage
Yeah.
of that.
And that's, like the community of people on Instagram and just online in general. Everybody's, kind of willing to help. And there's so many new techniques, new methods, new products. You can't sit there and act like you know everything because you're just going to like trap yourself in, a pigeonhole of what you know. And you're going to rely on that knowledge where, there's just so much new information out there, new products. And if you're not willing to, do more research online, reach out to other hardscapers, you're not going to grow, you're not going to learn anything, and there's no way to, see every situation and be able to be prepared for it ahead of time. There's
Hmm.
just stuff that happens every day that, is unexpected that I didn't even think about. And then the problem comes up, I can either, search online, see if anybody's run into this. I can reach out to some of the relationships I've made with people through Instagram and everything. And that's how you get better, by
Yeah,
learning from other people, getting inspired by other people, and just building on it.
I think it's really important. Like, it's come up a few times, and like I'm a big believer in it. So I suspect it'll come up on a lot of episodes. But just having this growth mindset that you can always get better, you can always get stronger, you can always get smarter, you can always get faster if that's what you want to do. And if it is
Yep.
something that you want to do, there are plenty of resources to help you along the way. Whether they're things you can read, watch, listen to, or people you can talk to.
Yeah. Well, it's either get better or your business dies. I mean, there's so much innovation in the industry. So many more people, more potential clients are in my experience, the younger home buyers are the people that are willing to invest, big money into their outdoor living space because they just bought their forever home.
Hmm.
They don't care if they go into a ton of debt, to pay it off over the
They have
next
lots
30
of years
years.
left. Yeah.
Yeah, they're in it for the long haul and they want they put more of a priority on this outdoor living experience, not just a patio or just a deck. It's more than that. It's these outdoor rooms. And those are also the type of clients that do more research online. And if you're not constantly staying up with the times, new techniques, and just putting yourself out there, you're missing out on that. And somebody else is going to be doing all those things, and they're going to take over your business. And that's really like kind of the only, I think if you're not improving and you're not looking to push your business ahead, you're just slowly fading away.
Slowly
And
regressing because
yeah,
everything's moving forward. If you're
yeah,
not, you're getting further and further behind.
totally, totally.
On that topic of outdoor living spaces, and you touched on this earlier, how like you really built a brand, and this is
Hmm.
a very popular buzzword right now, building a
Yeah,
brand. But like you've built
yeah.
an identity for your business around design.
Hmm.
Your designs, like if anyone looks at your Instagram and it's at Premier Outdoor, if you aren't already following this guy, there's already 60,000 people following him, so become 60,001.
Yeah.
Um, but if you look at the designs that you do, there really is a pretty constant look and feel to a lot of the work. A lot of his composite decking on an upper level and then down to a lower tier with interlocking concrete pavers. So that's where the hardscape side kind of lives. And although they're all unique, they all kind of have the same feel.
Yep.
Is that something that's intentional about your business, or is that something that just kind of happens because you're the one creating the designs?
I'd say it's probably a little bit of both. It's definitely 100% intentional to have a consistent kind of look to each of our projects. So I always looked at it like, well, first of all, I just want to design stuff that I like and I think is cool, because at the end of the day, I got to be out there building it. So if it's something that I don't like and I'm not excited about, then it's just not going to turn out good, because I like have to be excited about it, or else I'm just like, I can't wait to get out of here. I hate this. So that has always been a really important part of it. But it's just being able to create a brand around what the projects look like and differentiating yourself from the competition. I feel like a lot of other hardscape companies, landscapers, all that kind of stuff, they just cater to what the client wants and what their style is, and the feel that they're going for. And
They're too
they're
flexible, you're saying.
they're way too flexible, and they're trying to cater to everybody. And what happens is you don't become really good at any of those styles, and you just look like, there's no cohesiveness to the brand. And my goal is to just do the designs that I love, have, a consistent look to it. And then any client that sees, or any potential client that sees that work, that loves it, great. We're already in there, because we've differentiated ourselves to an extent where the people that love it, great. It's going to be hard to find somebody locally that does the same exact style as us and has that
Mm-hmm.
look to it. But on the flip side, there's also tons of clients, potential clients, that look at it and might just think, this is too modern, too off the wall. I
This
want
isn't for
something
me.
more traditional. And that's so fine. Like, that is okay.
As
People,
important as people liking it
it's
is having
yeah,
people dislike it.
exactly. Like, you
Yeah.
have to, your style has to be polarizing to some extent, because, if you're just broadly appealing to everybody, you're really not strongly going to appeal to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And it's it's just something I see all the time, that like, the design and the brand that you build around that, you can build a brand on service and all of that stuff to an extent, but there's kind of a limit to that, because anybody can market and say, we're the best, we have the best
Yeah.
service, best everything. But when you show a portfolio, the portfolio speaks for itself, and that is the differentiating factor, and that's what's driving people's decisions. And our goal is to make the sale an emotional one. We want the client to be like emotionally attached to the look of the project and the experience of like watching it online, because as soon as you can get that like emotional connection, that they feel with this design you came up with, you know, budget goes up. They're not shopping it around to other people.
Yeah.
It's you're in there with that niche clientele, and the rest takes care of itself.
So just trying to build on that because you said a couple things that I want to pull on, but one of the key things is like you're trying to make it, you're trying to make them emotionally invested in the process, and I feel that part of that comes from the thing you said earlier, which is you're attracting a type of customer that gravitates to a specific style, and that makes them feel confident that if that's the look that they went for, you're someone who can absolutely execute it because you do that all day long. And the people who
Exactly.
are doing a bit of everything,
Yep.
I don't feel strongly one way or the other about them.
Yep.
And I mean, you could take as many marketing classes as you want, or even get an MBA if you want. But like one of the basic rules of marketing, one of the first rules of marketing is identifying not only who are the ideal customers, who are not the ideal
Yeah.
customers, and make
Yep.
sure you don't speak to them because then you're
Yeah.
wasting marketing resources, sales resources, and potentially other resources. They're
Yeah.
wasting so much because they're not the fit for your business. And by
Yep.
you going really hard on one look and many variations of that look, but always that same kind of vibe that I get looking at your work,
Yep.
that attracts a smaller segment of the population, sure, but that smaller set of the population is very interested in what you have to offer. And then when you do go out and see them, they're that much more excited because the guy who creates these spaces is going to create mine. And the whole
Yep.
process that you've created where you have so much of your project content online, again, if people are finding you because of that, they like that stuff. Therefore,
Yep.
if they have the opportunity to play a role in that in their own journey, that could also be something that's attractive to them.
Yep. And there's a really good chance that if a potential client or really anybody likes one of our projects, they're
Yeah.
probably going to like every single thing that we do because there's just a certain look that each one has to have. So, if a budget doesn't line up with, being able to do the details that are going to give it that look, we'll turn it down. And I would turn it
Mm-hmm.
down even if we had no work because I think that's the hardest transition point for a lot of contractors is when you're starting out, you feel like you have to take every project. And, they have this vision in their mind that we want to do these really cool big projects. We want to do, this unique stuff. But, in the intermediate, you're too busy taking what you think you need to pay the bills, to keep busy,
Mm.
that you just wait for these cool projects to come along and fall in your lap. And
Again,
it's like
and they
you
don't.
do
Yeah.
one a year or two a year, you're never going to build that reputation. So I always looked at it from the very beginning. And something like I'm most proud of with building my business is when I had no work, no one knew who I was. I barely had any skills or, anything really, but I knew I wanted to build this cool stuff. And a job would fall in my lap of, hey, somebody wants a 12 by 12 paver patio. And that's all they want, and they're real firm on it. They don't want anything crazy. Even though I didn't have any work at the time, I was turning stuff down. Even if profits were going to be, pretty decent for what it was, I would always turn those down because I looked at it as it's just going to keep me busy and, not focused on what I really want to do. And if I'm sitting home and I just turn that job down and I have no work, it's just going to put me in a position where I'm forced to get creative, come up with ideas of, okay, I don't have any work right now. How do I find those
How do
clients
I
that I
get
really
what
want
I
to work
want?
for? Exactly. And if you don't, put that emphasis on it in the beginning, you're going to have to sacrifice something when you start a business. It's either your time, money, you know, just something. It's not going to just be perfect and everything's going to work out right away. So my goal was I was willing to sacrifice the profits in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
do the type of projects that I wanted to do, build a reputation, and then take those projects after, year and a half, 2 years. I've built this portfolio, even though I was making like nothing on the projects barely. I've presented them in a way online that makes us look like this, you know, really high end company that has it all together. And this guy Sean must have been born on a patio because he just knows everything about them. And you can create whatever narrative you want online, and that was kind of my goal. And I was just figuring it all out as I went. I mean, 6 years ago I built my
Yeah.
first patio, and you're in control of that narrative, and it's how you tell the story that that's what's going to bring whatever clients come, and you have control over what clients are going to come your way, even though a lot of people think that they don't.
I think what's really impressive in what you just said is founding a company, going off into business on your own. You are knowingly going to be making sacrifices. You're knowingly going to be compromising a lot of things about your life. But the one thing that you did not want to compromise was your vision for what your business can be and what it should be doing. And that seems
Yeah,
to be a recurring thing with everyone I talk to in every business, not just in
yeah,
hardscaping. Every business owner that I talk to that has a company that is very clearly something, and like you interact with the company just a little bit, and you're like, yeah, I totally get the feel of this company, and either you like it or you don't, but exactly, you have a clear identity. It always comes down to that one thing, that they were willing to make all the sorts of sacrifices around the startup except for the vision they had from the beginning.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
find that so inspiring because it's so easy to waver from that and be like, well, we need cash, so let's just take this on
yeah,
and let's just take that on. And it's not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just you're foregoing something. So if you're getting the
yeah,
cash, then you're letting go of something that might be allowing you to achieve something bigger down the road. So it's
yeah,
really, you really got to think about every decision that you make early on when running the business.
yeah, yeah. You really have to have a vision and something that you really believe in, because when you start a business, it's just going to be really hard. I mean, there's no way around it. There's a lot of like gurus and stuff online that, make it seem like you can start a business and, everything's going to be
Yeah,
great and you'll be making $1 million and working, 4 hours a week,
yeah,
and
yeah.
everything's going to be great and you're going to be on vacation everywhere. But like, that's just not reality, and it's going to be super hard. So you have to have a vision for where you want to go and be willing to stick to that, not just in the short term, because it's not going to happen fast. I spent 2 years really just like barely scraping by, but
Mm-hmm.
at the time I didn't care at all. I was so excited about what we were doing, and I believed so much in the vision and what my skill set was, and I wanted to build on that. So you have to have that long-term vision. You have to be willing to stick with it, and kind of everything else just will take care of itself. I mean, I could have been taking those boring, just standard projects back then, and I would
Mm-hmm.
have been making more money than I was back then, but I'd still be making that same money now
Today,
because,
yeah,
there was no, if I would have done that, there would have been no bigger picture or, next thing or place I wanted to
yeah.
go. And, it's just, you're going to have to sacrifice. So make sure you have something that you believe in, base it around your skill. Preferably.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to try to be a world class sprinter because I'm not that fast, but I am creative. I like to build stuff. So I thought that this was a good vision to have, and I believed in it.
I really like that, especially the big picture part.
Yeah.
I was
You
going to say
gotta,
especially the sprinter part, but
yeah.
especially the big picture part,
I
because
mean,
like it's not about like where you end this year. It's
yeah,
where are you going to end in 5 years? Where are you going to end in
yeah,
10 years? And is that why? Because like when you started your business, I'm sure it wasn't like, oh, okay, I just want to make this much per year and I'm okay. Like
yeah,
most people I meet when they're starting a business, like they have these visions of something bigger.
yeah,
And you have to understand that it's a long road to get there. So you got to know
yeah.
what are the steps on the ladder to get there, you know?
And I think, just as important as vision is just sticking with something.
Persistence. Yeah.
having a plan and just sticking with it despite when it gets hard. Because I have people all the time that come to me, or, not now because of COVID, I don't see anybody, but, message me online and stuff. And they're like, oh my God, your YouTube channel blew up. We went from, and by somebody that's just casually kind of looking at it every once in a while, they're like, last year you had like 2,000 subscribers and now you're at almost 80,000. That's amazing. It just happened like so fast. How did that happen? I tried YouTube and it didn't work. And it's like,
It
it
doesn't
wasn't
happen with
just
the
by
first video.
chance. It
Yeah.
was, yeah, last year I went in 2019. I started doing the YouTube stuff and I made like 100 videos that year. Each one took a couple hours to edit, took time off of, the production of the job. And in that first year, I only got up to like 3,000 subscribers, 100 videos. Most of them were getting like 200 views or something. It was
Hmm.
just like an insane amount of work for like no payoff. But I knew it was going to take like at least 2 years. I wasn't really expecting much in the first year. And I just stuck with it. And then beginning of 2020 started to
Boom.
pick up more and more.
Yeah.
And, we got like 37 million minutes watched this year on YouTube, which is crazy,
Wow.
and it's like people see that and they see, this big win that you've had and they just think he must have got lucky. I
Yeah.
can't do that. I'm not lucky like that. And it's like, I busted my ass, like just, and this is after getting home from work. I'm spending 4 or 5 hours editing, a stupid video that 200 people are going to watch. And I did that like 100 times.
Yeah.
And finally, it starts to compound on itself. And you just have to stick with things. People give up so easy and they expect it to just like be a breeze, but nothing is. Nothing that's worth doing or having is going to be easy. You have to stick with
I
it.
know it's so cliche, but like there's no other way to describe it. It's
Yeah.
like that's just what it is.
Yeah.
It's like those
It's,
those iceberg posters. Like all these things are cliche. Like
yes.
the wins, the success, the
Yep.
followers. That's not the top, but there's the years of
Yeah.
hard work
Yep.
and commitment and sacrifice that go into it. And that's
Yeah.
what building a business is. That's why I love
Yeah.
talking to guys like you, business owners who started it, because the strength of your resolve, your dedication, and your belief in yourself is
Yeah.
an inspiration to, well, it's an inspiration to me, but it should be an inspiration to anybody who hears this stuff. Like it's like anybody who starts their own business, like you have some pretty big ones to be like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna risk it all, go off on my own, and I believe in myself. I'm betting on myself. And there
Yeah.
are thousands of people who do that. And the whole purpose of this show is to just make sure that people don't feel alone in doing that, that we can go and get some information from guys like you and everyone else who's been on the show to just hopefully find that one little tip, that one little motivation, that one little something that just keeps you moving forward, because you already did the toughest part, which was getting started. And now you
Yeah.
just got to keep moving forward, you know?
Yeah. Some people have a lot of guts getting into business and going out on their own, or some people just don't really have any other options at that point in their life. And they're like, well, this is probably going to be like the only thing that I can do at this point because I didn't go to college. I got to make this work because I don't really have anything else to bank on. So that was kind of the boat I was in. Like, I'm like 25 or 26 at the time, and I'm like, all right, I need something to,
Here we go.
to
Yeah.
bank on. So I'm like, all right, I need to really go in on this. But it was the creative part that I loved from the beginning, and I thought that was really my strong suit, and that is what I'm good at. And I feel like, especially in the beginning, like the fact that I'm really creative and the vision that I have for things, I can think more long term. That was like dragging along all of the things that I'm absolutely horrible at. And like, I just made sure that the business was based around the things I'm good at, like the creativity, the design, the marketing stuff. And, if I tried to build just a regular business that's doing huge volume, you got to be organized. You got to be, all of this stuff. You got to be like on time for things. And those are the things that I'm not like at all. I'm so bad. I'm so disorganized. So like I knew that that type of business wasn't going to be something I would ever excel at. So
You played to
I
your strengths.
just played to my strengths and,
And
kind of
it's proof that
doubled
it can
down on it.
work. Like
Yeah.
there's guys who think like if you're not one of those contractors smashing out like 50 to 100 to 200 jobs a year, like
Yeah.
you're not successful. I don't think that's true. It really depends on what your strengths are. Like I was talking with Josh Baylor from Baylor Brothers. Like they
Yep.
have 3 crews and they're smashing out jobs nonstop, but they are like the epitome of productivity and efficiency.
Yeah.
Like
I don't,
that's their wheelhouse. So like
yeah.
milk it. Let's go.
Yeah. They have
Not that
like,
they're not creative, but like they're not doing the stuff that you're doing, and that's
yeah.
okay too. Like there's
Well,
just there's so many ways the way you can work.
they're creative because they're definitely creative. Like from talking to Phil and stuff, like they're creative around efficiency. And like
That's
you can
right.
tell that like the way I get excited about design, they get excited about saving 5 minutes every day
That's
doing
right.
something. And then they go and make tools to make that possible. And I think they have like, they probably don't think so yet, but I think they have like maxed out efficiency on a
No,
patio install.
they haven't. They haven't
I'm
because
sure
like
they'll come up with something else, but like it
yeah,
just blows my mind how they're like, okay, this crew goes, they dig everything out. We have a truck that's got a separator in it, so they put the dirt here. They can put,
yeah.
5 tons of base in the back. They can dump it
No,
separately.
they've thought of
All our tools
maximizing like
here.
every square inch of a truck, everything.
It's amazing, and that
And
is like something I'm horrible at. You
yeah,
saw my trailer.
I saw
You
it.
saw what my
We
trailer looked
don't we
like.
don't need to get into that.
We can maybe
You-
like flash a picture of that on the screen right now and say, if this guy can do anything, you'll be all right. Because look at this
Tell me.
guy's trailer. It's horrible.
Tell me. Okay, we're gonna transition to something more positive. So tell me because you basically go hard on Instagram and YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain for our listeners the importance of it for your business? Because there are many channels that you can use to promote your business, but you use those 2 specifically, and I feel like there's it's very intentional why you do that. You didn't just stumble across those.
Yeah, I think so. I try to be on all the platforms kind of universally. So, I'm daily posting on our business Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, because basically everybody I'm friends with there is just like an industry person or, something like that. LinkedIn has been really good. TikTok now even. I just went on an
I know
estimate
you're
for
on there, yeah.
yeah.
You got a lead from TikTok now?
I just went and met with the client. It's
It's
for they have a
2021.
budget right now of 200,000, and he was like, I was sitting at work on TikTok. We've been looking for somebody, and I was like, "Whoa, look at this cool project! Oh my god, I can't believe it! He's in New Jersey. We got to call him." So that was like,
because you're one of the few guys on there,
yeah,
and this guy was just messing around on TikTok, but
Yep.
boom, like, oh, I'm actually looking for someone like this. This is perfect.
yeah, and it's like,
That's
you
the
never
lesson,
know.
folks. It's just be where your customers are.
Yeah, and especially like just trying to be across all the platforms. Like, it's the same video that I'm going to post to Instagram or Facebook. But, all the content's the same across all 5 of those or whatever. The only one that's different is YouTube. And the reason I wanted to get into that, that was definitely a lot less for actually finding clients in my area. We were getting plenty from Instagram, Facebook, stuff like that. But I wanted to, that's kind of my vision for where the business is going to grow in the future. I don't want to grow volume wise. I don't want to start building 100 projects a year. Like I want to stick to the 20 that we do, 15 to 20. I want to get better at design. I want to build cooler stuff. I want to consistently get better as a designer and a builder. And I want to document that on YouTube and on Instagram and stuff. But YouTube really allows you to like actually get some in-depth content. People on Instagram are watching a video for maybe 10 seconds, where the average watch time on our YouTube page is like 4 minutes. So you have people's attention in a much different way on YouTube. And I think you can use that
What are you trying to
platform.
achieve on there?
Um, I'm trying to kind of solidify ourselves as a big brand in the industry. I think
Okay.
that's a valuable asset to have. It's something that plays to my strengths. Like I said, I'm not super organized, so I don't even want to try to scale the business because that just I kind of went that route a little bit like 2 years ago, kind of starting to go down that path, and I just realized I was doing more of the stuff I hated and I wasn't good at, and I was doing less of the stuff that I loved and I was really good at. So I want to play to those strengths. Um, the creativity
Hmm.
plays into the video editing. It's just fun. I just like doing it. We're finally making some money off of YouTube, but I think it's the best way to kind of further our opportunities in the industry. I think people are getting away from watching cable TV. I think YouTube is, especially, as the younger generation gets a little bit older, and I think that's really going to be the future of like entertainment.
Hmm.
So, I'm kind of going all in on that, and
Yeah.
something something I believe in, and it's another long term vision for the business. But I'm having a lot of fun doing it, and just sticking with it, and that's what is most important, like we talked about.
Yeah, well, I think you can't like underestimate the power of YouTube. It's
Yeah.
I said this on another episode. I forget with who, but we were just talking about search engines, and Google is number one.
Yep.
Did you
YouTube's
know
number
that
two.
YouTube is
Yeah.
number two? Exactly. So
Yep.
you know it doesn't occur to most people, but if you're building a ton of content on there and you're building a following,
Yep.
you're cementing, forgive the pun, but you're cementing
Yeah.
your position,
Yeah.
and the identity of your brand. So even if you're, like you said, you're not trying to necessarily scale the business, you can
Yeah.
scale your profits if you have thousands of people trying to get a job from you every year.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
And that's another strategy that I kind of had with, because a lot of people, they're like, I don't need to market because I'm busy enough. I'm booked out a year. And it's like,
mm,
well, are these like the exact clients that you want? Are you building the exact projects that you want? Because the best position you can be in is create a demand far superior than your ability to actually build, so that you can be super, super selective. And we get an absolutely insane amount of leads, probably like 30 leads a week. And these are people that fill out our email form after they see right above it, our projects start at $30,000. So these are already like really qualified leads that fill out the contact form. And, you know, we're almost booked out for the whole year. So I got to say no to a lot of these people,
so you're
but
getting over 1,500 leads a year.
probably not that consistent,
Okay,
because like right
so
now
at
it's,
peak you're getting up to 30 a week in terms of leads.
I'd say it's almost at. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 1,500 for the year.
Yeah.
Um, it tends to slow down. Like middle of summer is like right now we're getting
You must be getting lit up right now.
sometimes, you know 10 emails a day,
Yeah.
and some of them are people that are from 3 hours away, 4 hours away. And those are the people that find us on YouTube, and they're like, I'm not totally sure how far you'll go. So that's another thing,
Mhm.
we've been able to be really selective with
But
where we'll travel.
sorry,
Yep.
just one just for the benefit of our listeners, it's the
Yeah.
middle of January right now, and
Yes.
you're getting 10 leads a day. Are you spending a lot in terms of marketing, or is it really the content is carrying you quite a ways, and you're boosting posts? Like, are you running ads? Or are you just boosting from time to time? Like, what are you doing exactly?
I'm not doing any of that. None of
Nothing.
that now.
It's
No.
just organic now.
100% organic now. Last time I was doing some boosted posts on Instagram like early last year, but kind of stopped doing that. And a lot of it's coming from YouTube. It's crazy. Like I said, 37 million minutes watched last year, and most
Speaks
of
for
it
itself,
was
man.
Yeah, most of it was in the last 6 months of the year. So like October, November, December tends to be like a slower month on YouTube, but like October and November, we were averaging like 6,000 hours of watch time a day. So it's like,
It's
it's
unreal.
hard to it just blows my
Yeah,
mind.
like that's not a number that you can like compute in your head.
I
Like six
know.
thousand hours. Okay, that's like like that's
Like, yeah,
weeks, man. That's weeks
it's
of
insane.
viewing
Yeah.
time. Yeah,
It's crazy. So, we're getting all of that stuff. And like you said, with YouTube being the number two search engine, we come up for the first thing on a lot of stuff. Like I can't tell you how many times, people have been like, "Oh, I was looking up how to build a patio or something," and then your YouTube channel popped up. I watched it. I
and I said,
realized it
screw
was
it,
too hard
you're
for me to
doing it.
do. I realized it was out of my, scope of things I can do. And then I saw that you're kind of local, so I reached out to you. And
That's it.
that's, and not everybody is going to put in the amount of work to get 37, to get all that watch time,
No,
because
that's
that's,
a ton of work that you put in,
yeah,
and
and that's
and you might argue that's not necessary. Like, if you
it's
want to be
yeah, it's not.
like super like business about it,
Yeah, yeah,
you're generating 1,500 leads a year for a company that can only execute 20 projects a year.
yeah, yeah,
You're maybe overshooting the mark a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah,
But at the same time, if you're having fun with it, if it's positioning the company that you want the way you want to,
yep,
and if it's helping others in the industry too, which I know is something you like doing, and it is doing that too,
yeah, yep,
and it's not hurting you,
yeah,
then why stop?
yeah, exactly. And I think, like I said, this is another kind of long-term vision for the brand and the business, is putting in, because right now, I mean, even though we're making some money on YouTube ads and stuff like that,
Yeah,
if you divide that by how much work is put into it,
nah, it's not.
how
Yeah,
much, productivity it cuts into,
it's not a
it's like,
viable source of revenue for
no,
your
not
business
at
right now.
all.
Yeah,
It's a long-term plan for the business, and I've got some big ideas for it, so we'll see where it goes. But that's kind of besides the point. You can do a lot of easy content, and like they say, content is king. Like, you got to have content fresh, consistent, and it doesn't matter if you have 100,000 followers on Instagram or if you have 800. If you have 800 followers that are local to you and that could be potential clients, or could be, the son or daughter of a potential client or anything like that, you just put out that content and kind of document your journey, and you'd be surprised how many leads you'll get. And you don't have to have 100,000 followers to make this happen. You
yeah,
just have to kind of have a plan, have a vision for what story you want to tell about your business, and then put it out there. And the rest kind of takes care of itself. And there's tons of easy things you can do, like simple time lapse videos, you know, stuff that isn't a whole lot of work, that you just kind of make part of your day. You
yeah.
set up a time lapse camera. At the end of a week, you got a really cool video. Put it
That's
up
it.
on YouTube and Instagram, and you never know where that's going to go.
No, and honestly, like I'm tempted to say like what's some other content ideas, but honestly, like all anyone has to do is check out your YouTube channel, which is what is it again?
Premier Outdoor Living. Yep.
So
Premier
just
Outdoor Living. You'll
that's
see
the channel.
everything we're doing with Techo Block.
Thank you, shameless plug, and
Yeah.
check out the Instagram at
Yep.
Premier Outdoor. I do want to say one other thing. I'm just going to ask you this last question. We'll end with
Yeah.
this, but I see you're posting to LinkedIn too, which is
Yeah.
not common for people in our industry to be using LinkedIn. What's
Yep.
your thought there in like 30 seconds or less? What's
Oh,
the
geez,
logic
30
of going on there?
seconds. All
Or a
right.
minute?
All right. So, I'm already creating the content, putting it on these other platforms. It takes 2 seconds to put it on LinkedIn as well. I've got like 12,000 connections on there or something. So we've got a good amount of
You have a good network.
good network on there. And the biggest thing I found with LinkedIn is there's so many people on it, so many people, everybody on there almost has a good job. They have money, and the content that is on there is just like the most boring, like lame somebody trying to sell you insurance or
It's all business content. It's
it's
nothing for
just
your
so
house. It's all
boring.
for
Yeah.
your job. Yeah.
It's horrible. It's
It's work, work,
horrible
work.
content. It's so you post something cool like a backyard or a patio, it gets traction really well, and it's like, you can get a huge reach organically because it's a network. It's like such the opposite of every other network. There's so many users, but there's such a huge void of good content on
That's
there.
it.
So like you put up good stuff, LinkedIn's like, or the robots are like, whoa, all right, cool, a cool video. Thank God we have all these people. It's just
No
everybody
one,
trying to sell
everyone's
financial
bored.
services and,
Exactly.
insurance. So every other platform is the opposite.
They're all saturated. LinkedIn
They're
is the opposite of
super
that.
super saturated,
Mm-hmm.
and LinkedIn is not. So,
Mm-hmm.
and it takes literally less than a minute. I'm gonna post to Instagram, post the same thing to LinkedIn. Why not? And it's led to a lot of good jobs. Um, it's easy to target people in your area, and it's just why not? Why not put it out there?
Sean, you're a very smart man. Thank you for joining us on the show.
I don't know
Thank you
about
for.
that, but thank you, Alex. I appreciate it. It's been fun. I don't know if we got to any of the questions that you emailed me, but I think this will hopefully
These were better. This was a better conversation.
part two
Can
coming
never.
soon.
That's it. It's the creativity.
Yeah,
This is what we could pull out of your trailer. It's
yeah,
all this
yeah.
good stuff
Put that as the picture of the
of the
interview.
episode.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah,
How this guy is killing it on social
yeah.
media. Yeah, but
Insane.
for real, thank you very much for being on here. This has been a lot of very helpful stuff. I think our listeners will agree. Once again, and I know that you're like super open and transparent with people. So if people want to reach out to you on Instagram at Premier Outdoor, best
Yeah,
place to reach you. And yeah, man, or maybe TikTok too, I guess at this point.
maybe TikTok. Yeah,
But for sure, thank you very much. And for sure, we're going to expect to have you back on a couple of times because there's just so much to talk about. We're just scratching the surface of one small aspect of your business. So thank you very much for sharing with us. And I hope I hope everyone
yeah.
had a good time with us.
Thanks for having me.
That's it, guys, for this week. And we will see you next time on the Hardscape Growth Show.